Is this thing on? Hello? It's Synthomania. We're coming to you live from New Braunfels, Texas at Syntaur World Headquarters. This is our brand new world headquarters. This is the first time we're really doing Synthomania virtual, and instead of having about 100 or so people local to us come and visit the place and try out all these synthesizers, we're going around the globe, around the universe. So we hope to be reaching lots more people. Like I say, this is the grand opening of our new building. We've just been moving in here. We're still hammering and sawing on some pieces, but we're operating out of the place. It's a brand new 2,250 square foot synthesizer wonderland. Now Syntaur has always sold vintage gear. In the move to this new facility, we've opened up this big new showroom. We're starting to sell new gear. We're a dealer for Korg, we're a dealer for Waldorf, for Novation, for Yamaha, so for Moog. So we've got tons of stuff in this showroom, and we'll be going over a lot of that soon. I want to say also that all of this stuff is on sale during this event. So if you go to Syntaur.com, you'll see all the stuff in our showroom. You'll see listings, pictures of it. You'll see the regular pricing. All of the used gear and merch is going to be 10% off of that pricing. You'll need to call or email to get that. The phone number here is 830-627-1530, or you can email us at sales@syntaur.com and we'll give you special pricing. That also applies to new gear. I can't say anything other than we're going to give you special pricing because of certain restrictions with manufacturers, but I can promise that we're going to give you a real good deal that you're probably not going to get anywhere else. So just give us a holler, 830-627-1530, or send us an email, sales@syntaur.com, and we will fix you up.
And if for some reason it's busy or whatever, just please keep trying. We're not sure, how many calls to expect, but just you could email us or just keep trying, and we'll get back to you for sure.
So a few words about what Syntaur does. We're not a repair center. What we do is we sell the parts that help you fix your keyboards. We sell to a lot of service centers, but what really warms my heart is when I get an email from someone that says, because of you guys, I was brave enough to unscrew the lid of my synthesizer and replace this, and now it works again. I fixed it myself, and that is music to my ears. I love hearing that. Most synthesizer repairs are stuff most people could probably do. So we're here to supply the parts for them. We also have a lot of content to help you along. We do a internet video series called Synth Wizards, where it's kind of a reality show where we deal with a lot of this stuff in sort of a fun manner. We have a weekly podcast every Friday called Talking Synths,
where they can ask if there's something that you want to know a little more about. Feel free to send the email. What's the email?
TalkingSynths@syntaur.com.
Yes.
And Carlos and I do that every Friday. We didn't do one yesterday because in just a short while we're going to be doing a live one here. So if you have questions, send that email, TalkingSynths@syntaur.com, or post a comment on the YouTube feed, and we'll get to it if we can. We also have other repair videos. We have a forum on our web page, Syntaur.com. There's a header for forums. Click there. Our techs are on there. Lots of other techs, lots of other people are on there asking and answering questions. So if you have a really specific question about how to do something, you can probably get some good answers there at the Syntaur forums. Let's see. Before we roll further, I want to mention Korg. Korg has been wonderful to us, and Korg has been wonderful to the synth world in general. If you're an analog synth geek, who brought analog synths back into the mainstream after everything went digital and wavetable, and then all of a sudden here's Korg busting out with all these cool products. What started with the MS-20 Mini, maybe?
MS-20 Mini,
and then Prolog, Minilog, all those things. I should have written this down. I'm drawing a blank, but what really blew me away just recently, the ARP 2600. We have one right there, and
The full size.
yeah, I mean, amazing to think of someone reissuing that. So Korg has really been a leader in the forefront of this, and they have sponsored Synthomania for 3 years running, and we have some special treats from Korg coming up. One of those being an Electribe 2BL that you can sign up to win.
Oh, I can? Oh, not me. Not me.
If
Not
you're
me.
not Eddie or Carlos, you can sign up to win. And if you go to synthomania.net, it's changed since the podcast, since this live stream started. So go to Synthomania.net right now and click on register to. I can't remember what the header says. Scroll down and there's a place to put in your stuff. We want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and then register on synthomania.net. We'll get your registration here, and at 4:40 we'll be giving away that Electribe. Shortly after that, we're going to be giving away some Syntaur swag, so be sure and do that. Get signed up.
Enjoy the show. We got some entertainment.
Got some live
Yeah.
music.
But for now, let's take a tour of our new building. Welcome to Syntaur. Come on in. Here's the entryway. We have a MidiMoog, of course, and all our merch. A few bits and pieces, and that leads right on into our new showroom. We'll take a look at this in more detail later, but come on, let me show you around first. Here's Mary, my wife. Our office space. I have a little workbench back here. And this brings us out to this middle area where we have Shaylin on the end there. She does a lot of our graphic stuff. And this is Brianna. She does a lot of parts entry and order entry. This room right here is our editing suite where Lucas does all his work. Let me see if I can show Lucas here. There he is. There's Lucas. Now if we can give that back to him without dropping the camera. All right. And let's continue on back this way. Here's where Eddie has his domain.
Hello.
And this is where all the orders get filled and fulfilled, processed, shipped, ready to go.
Where all the magic at.
Yeah, the magic. We have a ARP 2600 system here about to ship out overseas. Back in this area is where all of our inventory is. So these shelves are all the different parts, different keys. We have over 10,000 SKU items here. So we have a pretty deep inventory of parts for pretty much every synth on the planet. And if we don't list yours, let us know and we'll get a listing going for it. Well, let's go up one more aisle here. All right. Back here is our tech section. Here's Ron and Carlos teching. This is where all the keyboards get fixed and refurbished. And then this leads back into the showroom. We have a brand new mural there. I love it. Shows my favorite keyboard. And boy, do we have a lot of stuff in here. I'll just do a quick walkthrough and show. Chroma expander, MidiMini, Memorymoog in a box, the brand new Korg ARP 2600. There's a Prophet 2000 keyboard, Sequential Pro 1 and Prophet 5. This one has the Analog Renaissance Rev -1 kit in it, so this one has MIDI and all the good details of all the new Rev 3, but it's got the switches there and it's got the internal sound of a Rev 2, so pretty slick. DX7S, Prophet remote keyboard, AX Synth, Novation Base Station 2, Alpha Centauri, Korg Minilog, Mellotron M400, lots of stuff. A lot of new Korg product here, Prolog, Wavestate, Minilog XD, Monolog. Another Prophet 5, a Moog 1 16 voice. Here's the Mother 32, Subharmonicon, DFAM, some assorted rack stuff, Super JX, ME3XS, my Fismo prototype, Insonic Fismo prototype, my favorite Rhodes piano, JD800, Waldorf Iridium, Waldorf Quantum, Kawai K3, Roland SH201, Roland RD300S. What did we miss? Okay, over here, Moog Subsequent 25, Syntaur Juno 107, that's just our showpiece for the showroom. Matriarchs of assorted color schemes. Prophet 5 Rev 1, this is more museum over here. Rev 1, Prophet 5, the Vocoder Plus VP 330 from Roland from, what, 1976 or so. And the Elka Twin, secret weapon there, and assorted rack stuff. So you can tell we have piles and piles of stuff here, and for the Synthomania, we're bringing out piles and piles more that doesn't even live on display here. So a lot of stuff that you've probably never seen. So yeah, welcome to our new domain. It's exciting to be in here. It's taken us a lot of work and a lot of sweat and tears, but we're finally in and finally working, and we have a little more breathing space, and this is our new synthesizer destination. So if you're a synthesizer geek, you need to come see us. Okay, welcome back to Liveness. I think we've got the little poppy noisy problem figured out, and hopefully this is sounding better. Just another reminder, in about 2 hours and 45 minutes, we're going to be closing for the registration of the giveaways. So sign up for that Korg Electribe 2BL, sign up, well, it's the same sign up, it signs you up for that, or the Syntaur swag package, which is a Syntaur hoodie, a Syntaur cap, and $100 of store credit. So those are two cool things to win. So all of this stuff is on sale during the event. Call or email us for more info. And we've got so many keyboards here that we haven't even shown you, that we've spent a lot of time prior to this event doing some demos for them. And so now, feast your eyes on lots and lots of synthesizers. Animated sounds with lots of motion, that really gets me going, and the Korg Wavestate does that so well. It's a neat little keyboard, very lightweight, a lot of knobs and buttons and fun stuff to grab onto, and some really cool sounds. This knob right up here is a vector joystick, and being a wave state, it's kind of cycling through lots of waves and layering lots of things. And with the vector joystick, you can basically fine tune in on any of those things, selecting different parts, different segments of the sound. So there's the straight up sound. And as we sweep through, we can get just pieces of it. I'm just kind of doing an orbit around there and getting the different segments, but if you go back to the middle, you get the whole ball of wax. It's really cool. I like that. Let's choose just a couple of other sounds here. Let's see. Another neat feature of this is it's got a button that has a die on it, the dice cube. I think one dice cube is called a die, right? So it's a randomized function, and so you can press that. It allows you to even choose what aspect of the sound you want to randomize. I'm just going to select performance there. We wait for a second, it just randomizes the performance, and let's see what we get from the last sound. Just a totally different sound from where we started. I'm going to randomize the same thing and see what we get now. Totally different sound. You could just sit here all day and call yourself a sound designer by pushing that button. It's just a lot of fun. Yeah, this is a really cool machine. I just love grabbing the knobs and grabbing the joystick and changing the aspect of the sounds, and just that complexity and the sweepiness and all that. I just love soundtrack kind of stuff, so this one really works for me. Ooh, the Moog Memorymoog Plus. The Plus version has MIDI. Really an exceptional instrument. A lot of people say this is like 6 mini Moogs into one polyphonic instrument, because each voice is reminiscent of a mini Moog, or it's patterned after it. You have 3 oscillators, mixing them down, going through that beautiful Moog ladder filter. Just a really sweet sound. A little sync sound there. You can just really get some beefy stuff out of this thing. This one just sold. I'm sure going to miss it, but we have another one in the works. So.
For over 30 years, Waldorf have been pioneers in the field of digital synthesis. The Quantum not only builds on that rich legacy, but brings it into the 21st century. For many people, the idea of owning an original PPG waveterm has been cost prohibitive. But now, you can own a synthesizer that not only contains all of the original PPG wavetables, but adds an additional 4 styles of synthesis. At 3 oscillators per voice and 8 voices of polyphony, the Quantum is much more than your stereotypical polyphonic synthesizer. From the front panel, you have a wide range of easily accessible parameters. Each oscillator gives you the choice of wavetable, virtual analog, particle, resonator, and kernel with FM capabilities. Route all that through a true stereo analog filter, and it's really easy and fun to get some amazing sounds out of this instrument. Additionally, you have 6 envelopes, 6 LFOs, complex modulators, and a silky smooth 1-knob compressor. I really like this compressor for bringing out that low end in places you normally wouldn't expect. When we think of nice traditional analog pads, the low end is something that kind of gets left behind in that. And this compressor really brings those pads to life. At a base price of $43.99 US, the Quantum is less than half what a PPG Waveterm would have cost you in 1981. I really think the Quantum is a modern day classic that will stand the test of time.
Not many people have seen a Mellotron. Everyone has heard one, I would venture to say. This is the M400 Mellotron model, manufactured in 1970, and this is such an iconic sound. It was the flute sound on the beginning of Stairway to Heaven, the flute background. It was the flute sound that started Strawberry Fields Forever with the Beatles. The flutes, the choirs, and also some string samples. They were so iconic on a lot of records of that era, and they're kind of wobbly sounding. And the reason they sound like they do is because this isn't really a synthesizer. This is about as analog as it gets. When you press a key, it actually pulls a strip of tape up, and that tape is pre-recorded of real flutes or real strings or real choir. And so because of the tape flutter and that kind of stuff, you kind of get a wobbly bit of the sound, and it's really something. It sounds very cool. One strange thing about playing the Mellotron is that because it is pulling a strip of tape, when you get to the end of the tape, it has to rewind and reset. And so you can't hold a note for longer than 7 seconds. And then the tape has to back up, and then you can play it again once it resets. So it's kind of a quirky and strange instrument to play. There were less than 2,000 of these made. And so we're fortunate to have one here, and we'll need to demagnetize the heads and get it in good working condition, and then it'll be a real jewel. This is the trifecta of vintage sequential circuits gear: the Prophet 5, the Polysequencer, and the Prophet Remote. And if you're as old as I am, you might be able to remember the classic magazine ad that shows all the 3 of these. And if I had my wizard costume, I would have dressed up in it. Or if you're as old as I am, maybe you don't remember anything about it. But this is the bomb back in 1980, somewhere around there, to have these 3 pieces of gear together. And the Polysequencer and the Prophet Remote are actually quite rare, so this is quite the collection of the 3 of them.
Today I have a really interesting find. You know, up here at the shop, sometimes we get a lot of calls and people say, oh, I found this in the attic, or I've had this, you know, for a really long time, and I'd like to see it go to a good home. And we get to see some really cool and unique stuff come through these doors. And what I have here is the RSF Kobol Expander 2. Now, there were only about 240 of these made, and not only are they hard to find, but you really don't see them stateside that often either. And that's because Kobol, or RSF, was touted as the French Moog. A part of the RSF line, what they had was you could expand it with modular options, almost akin to like a 5U system. And what the Expander 2 is, it adds a lot of utilities and functionality to your RSF system. So what this has is an envelope, a VCA, a ring mod, sample and hold, noise source, and a mult. I had a chance to run this alongside an MS-20 Mini, and it's kind of, you know, an odd pairing, but all I can say is, wow, it sounded great. It really did. And I'm kind of sad to see this one go, but we found a really good home for it. And I think at the end of the day, you know, that's what we're all about here at Syntaur, is connecting musicians with the instruments that help them express themselves.
One of the most unique things I have in my own personal collection is this Soviet Aelita synthesizer. It's an analog 3 oscillator synth from back in the early 80s. And it's really cool. It sounds great. It's fun to play. The only problem is it doesn't play right now. That's one thing about this particular keyboard and a lot of other synthesizers from that era, from that part of the world. They are kind of cheaply made. You can just kind of mess around with things and it just feels kind of cheap, and it broke, and so what can I say? We haven't fixed it yet. This came from a guy in Latvia, contact I had there. We did some horse trading and I ended up with this thing. It's just kind of cool. I think it's neat that I can't read anything on it. I had someone translate this, so it all does make sense, but these are the 3 oscillators here. The square pulse and sawtooth waves, and so it's a little bit like a MidiMoog in that respect, 3 oscillators. The craziest thing when I first got it, I couldn't get any sound out of it, and so this is the volume slider. I pushed it all the way up, I heard nothing. I tried everything, didn't hear anything, and finally we discovered that pushing the slider all the way down is what turns it on. It's labeled 0 up here and 10 down here, so there are a few things to get used to on this little keyboard, but again, it is pretty unique and it is a really, really fat sound, and so I really like it. I'm looking forward to getting it back working one of these days. The Memorymoog Model D is my favorite synthesizer of all time. I've had a love affair with it for decades and I'll never be without one. This is my baby. This is a Memorymoog in a box. It's called the MidiMini, and it's rack mounted by Studio Electronics. It's the actual circuit boards from a Memorymoog put into a rack case and added with MIDI, and it's a great little piece to have if you don't need the full keyboard Memorymoog and want to run your rig from MIDI.
Here we have the Kawai K3, Kawai's first attempt at a keyboard that wasn't completely analog. Came out in 1985, 61 keys, all weighted, their first weighted keyboard. It has velocity sensitivity. It has channel aftertouch, which is really amazing on this keyboard. I purchased one of these brand new in 1985 when they came out, and I still use it today as a master keyboard. The keybed feels that nice. You can get a lot of expression out of it. Kawai retained their so-called famous programming method of pick what you want to adjust and literally turn one knob. Everything can be adjusted by a poke and a knob. If you wanted to adjust, say, the channel aftertouch, you can select right here, turn it all the way down, nothing, turn it up. That's simple. You can turn chorus, MIDI, everything is that simple. You can change the MIDI channel, you just hit your master, go to your MIDI, pick your channel right here. The thing I loved about the Kawai K3 is that it is a hybrid synthesizer. It is an analog in nature keyboard. However, all the oscillators went a step further than just digital control. All the waveforms are digitally created and are literally digital samples of actual instruments. There's 31 waveforms stored in its memory with an additional waveform that is fully programmable. And it's programmed by adjusting all the harmonics within that sound. And there you have it. That is the Kawai K3 from 1985.
How y'all doing out there, Synth Wizards? Great to have y'all here with us. You know, when I first started with Syntaur, you literally couldn't go to the restroom without having a DX5 fall in you. We were in a 3-bedroom house, and this new facility is just absolutely great. One of the things I'm most excited about is the ability to showcase exciting new artists. And with that, I'd like to introduce to y'all the amazing Kay Phillips.
These tracks were laid long ago. I was made to move. I was born to roll. Kingdom clouds, diamond lakes. There was nothing I couldn't move, nothing I couldn't take. Looks at the rust and sees the rain. No one blames the tracks, they blame the train. I used to live like a locomotive, traveling through them hills of gold, spitting steam and burning coal. But nothing moves me anymore. Rambling ain't nothing, you keep it inside. When the good times are rolling, will you let it ride? They'll tell you to stop when it's too late. If a man has a job to do, if a train has a freight, no one looks at the rust, sees the rain. No one blames the tracks, they blame the train. I used to live like a locomotive, traveling through them hills of gold, spitting steam and burning coal. Nothing moves me anymore. Yeah, nothing moves me anymore. Nothing moves me anymore. Yeah, nothing moves me anymore. Yeah, nothing moves me anymore.
Thank you.
Thanks to Syntaur for having us. I used to live in New Braunfels, and I'd get my parts from Syntaur, and I put in little, comments in the email like, hey, I live here in New Braunfels. It'd be awesome to see you guys and check out your store. And it'd be like, we don't, well, anyways, now I get to see it, and so this is such a big deal for me. So thank you.
Turn down the gain on your CD.
Okay. We were so excited to do this and be asked to do this that we decided to write some songs for it. So this is Dave here, and Dave programmed this whole set. He rewrote some stuff for this, and I went to Arizona on a vacation. Yeah. I thought we were doing Nightmare Machine. Ow. Eighteen-year-old girls, 18-year-old girls will fall apart like a string of pearls or run along. Oh, run along. You should not be wearing my shirt. I should not have my mind in the dirt. Oh, run along. Oh, run along. Oh, honey, honey, just run along. Thought you were the only one. Come on down, pretty girls will have their fun and leave you with a loaded gun. Just 'cause it gets you through the night, oh, it don't make it right. Oh, run along. Oh, run along. Oh, honey, honey, just run just 'cause it gets you through the night, oh, it don't make it right. Oh, run along. Oh, run along. Oh, honey, honey, just run along. Thank you. We got all the all the inputs are good over there now. More instruments. More variables, please. So this is a song we wrote for for this gig, and so is the next one, I think. But we wanted to do more. We're a fan of synths, but you know, we're like, we need more synths. Yeah. All your days are golden, none are worth a damn. You're cold in California, you're bored in Japan. If there's no surprise in the writer, then there's no surprise to read. I thought we were the good guys, that'll never be. Oh, ain't it like a dream? Oh, the nightmare machine. They were born in chains, you were born in splendor. I tried to take you everywhere, you had already been there. Thought I deserved someone like you, and after tonight, well, I guess I do. Oh, ain't it like a dream? Oh, the nightmare machine. And God stepped out of the room, and it's only me and you, and me, the nightmare machine. I've always been a builder of the broken and the parted. Most of my inventions I wish I never started. You look like an engine rolling on a frame. I cut out the rust, I put back the chain. Oh, ain't it like a dream? The nightmare machine. Thank you. You know, if you guys, want to make a synth and call it the Nightmare Machine, I mean, that'd be cool with us. I mean, just, you could call it like, thanks. I mean, we wrote that for you guys, so. And then it turned into like a really evil sounding song. It is an evil. Okay. So here's an upbeat song. We're big fans of when bands used to, with synths, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer used to sing about kings and queens, and I remember lying in my bed listening to Lucky Man. Is that Emerson? Anyways, and be like, what is that stuff? Like on a ranch in West Texas, like, what is that? And we've loved it ever since. So. I was disgraced and replaced, kicked out of the living race, fell down upon my face in the gore and the blood, run ashore in the war, trampled beneath the horde, trampled down my sword in the mud and the hooves. Tell it to the queen that wants to hear from me. Tell it to the queen. Tell it to the queen. Well, it was not my great defeat, or my flag upon the field, not the way I feel in my bones. Every night beneath the throne, I gaze upon all she's done, painted halls and battles won, of the place that I call home. Tell it to the queen. 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 And replaced, kicked out of the living race, without a night to face, I turned into a ghost, and in the gore and the blood, I said goodbye to all I loved, took a breath and sent a dove to the one I needed most. Tell it to the queen. 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 Thank you. So I think Dave arranged all this stuff, and I went to Phoenix and said, I know we were supposed to practice this week, but can you just do it? And I think he did it. He did it without question. But my punishment is I'm playing acoustic guitar and all this stuff now. I can't turn it up. I can bring it up higher to the. So this is my punishment. All these great synths around me. And I almost got to play one. Are we using the Korg at all?
The microKORG? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be featured on this one.
So thanks to Korg, where's my camera? I'm winking. Big fan of the whole Korg line. By the way, I'm very excited. All the new Korg stuff that's coming out. Wink.
Okay, we're doing Had Enough, right?
All right, this song is called Had Enough. I do want to say that in my home studio, there's not that many Korg products because, you know, I just learned about them here today. Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just a second. Sorry, Ken.
So this song is called Had Enough, and one thing I haven't had enough of is synthesizers.
Okay, now we're good. That's looking more familiar.
Our Juno Hero was fixed by Carlos.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And I wore out my welcome, and they called my bluff, with nowhere to fall and no one to trust. And I kicked against the pricks just to fall upon a rose. I watched her bloom before me, and I watched her close. I've had enough. I've had enough. Ought to know to let go. I was running from myself, selling all I own. No plow before me, no garden grown. I've had enough. I've had enough. Ought to know to let go. And everyone would do this. Our programming sense was easy, but my nightmares are not what they used to be. And everyone's got demons, and I must slay my own. I never thought I would bring them home. I've had enough. I've had enough. I've had enough. All to know. I've had enough. I've had enough. I've had enough. All to know to let go. Thank you. This is our last song. It's a quick one. It's called Sheriff's Wife. Thanks to Syntaur and Synthomania for being so awesome and professional and letting me use this Mellotron as a table. It's sacrilege, but whatever. In our rider, we asked for rare synths so we could use them as keyboard stands. So this will do. It was either this or a bucala. We're going tonight. I'll dress like that. Who you going out with when you're coming back? I sure be ashamed something happened to you. Oh, the sheriff's bride, just 22. We're gone tonight. We're gone tonight. We're gone tonight. We're gone tonight. I say I was working and you were fast asleep. And you floated up to heaven with a little gas leak. Oh, that man found you while I was on patrol. And taking more than praying to save your soul. Dress on right. All I asked is where you're going tonight. Yeah, stop your sniveling and bring me a beer. There's only one road out of here. We're going tonight. We're going tonight. Thank you. Thanks to Synthomania. Thanks to Carlos. Thanks to Sam. Thanks to Syntaur. We've been K. Phillips.